A lucky break. Internet fame. The internet has changed the meaning of celebrity. In the past, you had to be a successful actor, musician, or footballer to be famous. Now all you need is the internet. In 1968, artist Andy Warhol said, "In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes." With the invention of the internet and YouTube, maybe that time is now. Now, a kid with a webcam can become an instant film star, and even a cat with a grumpy face can make their owner famous. When Tabitha Bunderson's brother posted a photo of their cat on the internet, Grumpy Cat became an overnight internet sensation, and later a company worth more than $1 million. Tavi Jevinson was 12 years old when she started her own fashion blog, but she quickly found herself on the front page of newspapers and magazines and interviewed on television. These are the new superstars, celebrities of the future. Vocabulary. Suffixes. 1. Work in pairs. Do you think it would be good to be famous? What are the positive negative things about being famous? Positive, you're always in newspapers, magazines, companies want you to advertise their products, you have famous friends, lovely homes. You can buy expensive things. You can talk to politicians to try and change the world. Negative, photographers, the paparazzi follow you and take your photograph wherever you go. You and your family have no privacy. Being recognized by everyone in the street can be annoying. People constantly judge celebrities. 2. A discuss. What do you think a web celebrity is? Read the article to find out. An ordinary person who becomes famous because of the internet. Answer the questions. 1. What is different about fame now? In the past, you often needed to be a successful actor, sports person, or musician to be famous. Nowadays, you can become famous through the internet, not just by using your talent. 2. How do people become famous on the internet? You can become famous by posting a photo, a video, or a blog. 3. Can you think of examples of web celebrities? 3. Look at the article above and find one example of a word with each suffix. Write them in the table. Adjective endings. Full. Successful. OUs. Famous. Noun endings. Ion. Invention. Itty. Celebrity. Or. Ian, jobs. Owner. Actor. Musician. B. Complete words 1 to 8 below and put them in the correct column in the table. 1. Celebration. 2. Photographer. 3. Politician. 4. Popularity. 5. Adventurous. Adjective. 6. Helpful. Adjective. 7. Dangerous. 8. Wonderful. CO 12.3 word stress. Listen to check your answers. Underline the main stress.
Unit 12. Recording 3.
Successful. Helpful. Wonderful. Famous. Adventurous. Dangerous. Invention. Celebration. Celebrity. Popularity. Footballer. Photographer. Actor. Musician. Politician.
D. Can you think of any other words with these suffixes? Full, painful. OUs, ridiculous. Ion, education. Itty, familiarity. Teacher. Or, instructor. Ian, electrician. Listening. 4. A work in pairs. Discuss. If you could be famous, what would you like to be famous for? B. 12.4 Listen to 8 people answering the question. Put the number of the speaker next to the thing they mention.
Unit 12. Recording 4. 1.
If I could be famous for anything, it would be art. I love painting, and if I had more time, I would love to paint seriously. If I could have a painting in a museum, I'd be really happy.
2.
I'd be a famous politician. If I was a politician, I would try to change the world, to stop all these wars and do something to help poor countries. You know, I think it's terrible how most politicians don't seem to worry about things like that.
3.
If I could do anything, I think I'd be a famous footballer or something like that. Imagine if you scored a goal for your country in the World Cup. That would be such a good feeling. You'd remember something like that forever.
4.
I'd love to sing. If I could be famous for anything, I think I'd be a singer. Or a dancer. I'd love to be a famous dancer. I'm terrible at both of those things. I can't sing or dance. I guess that's why we have dreams, isn't it?
5.
I would love to be a famous writer or poet, like Shakespeare. I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to write a book that people all around the world want to read. To be able to speak to people in that way. Yes, I'd like to be remembered as a great writer. But I don't think that'll happen.
6.
If I could be famous for anything? Well, let me see. Oh, for being beautiful. That would be good. One of those beautiful actresses who wins at the Oscars. If I was famous, I would be rich, live in a big house, and have all those clothes. Oh, yes, that would be nice.
7.
If I could be famous for anything, it would be for inventing something like a medicine or a cure for cancer. Not for being an actor or a musician. If I invented something that made people's lives better, that would be good.
8.
What would I want to be famous for? I wouldn't like to be famous. If I was famous, I wouldn't be happy. No, I prefer just being me, thank you.
An artist. A politician president. A footballer sportsperson. A singer dancer. A writer. An actress. 5. Listen again and complete the sentences. 1. If I had more time, I would love to paint. 2. If I was a politician, I would try to change the world. 3. Imagine if you scored a goal for your country in the World Cup. That would be such a good feeling. 4. I'd love to sing. If I could be famous for anything, I think I'd be a singer. 5. I'd like to be remembered as a great writer. 6. If I was famous, I would be rich, live in a big house, and have all those clothes. 7. If I invented something that made people's lives better, that would be good. 8. If I was famous, I wouldn't be happy. B. Work in pairs. Discuss. Do you agree with any of the speakers? A. I think I'd like to be a model. B. Really? I wouldn't. Grammar. Hypothetical conditionals. 6. Look at exercise 5A and complete the table. If clause. If plus past tense. If I had more time. If I was famous. If I was a politician. Main clause. Would, wouldn't, plus infinitive. I would love to paint. I wouldn't be happy. I would try to change the world. B. Underline the correct alternatives to complete the rules. Rules. 1. Use hypothetical conditionals for imaginary situations in the present. If I was famous, but I'm not, I would. 2. Use hypothetical conditionals for likely, probable, unlikely, impossible situations in the future. If I didn't have to work tomorrow, but I do, I would. Page 150 Language Bank. 12.2 Hypothetical conditionals for present future. If plus past simple. If I had more money. If I wanted a job. If I was famous. Plus would, wouldn't plus infinitive. I would buy a car. I would look for one. I wouldn't be happy. Use if plus past simple plus would, wouldn't plus infinitive to form a hypothetical conditional. Use hypothetical conditionals to talk about an imaginary situation in the present or future and its consequence. If I knew the way to the museum, I would tell you. I don't know the way to the museum. If I won the lottery, I would never work again. I'm very unlikely to win the lottery. It's an imaginary situation. Would is often contracted, ld, you'd, he'd, we'd, they'd. Would not is contracted to wouldn't. If we had more money, we'd buy a bigger house. We wouldn't live in the city if we didn't need to. It is possible to change the order of the clauses. Notice that there is a comma after the if clause in the first example, but no comma in the second example. If we had children, our lives would be very different. Our lives would be very different if we had children. With the verb be, it is possible to use were instead of was. If he were a lawyer, he would tell you what to do. Use if I were you to give advice. If I were you, I'd tell him your plans. Not if I was you. It is also possible to use could. If I could sing, I would start a band. 12.2. A match 1 to 6 with a, f, to make sentences. 1. If you went to bed earlier. C. You wouldn't feel so tired. 2. If she asked him to marry her. F. I'm sure he would say yes. 3. If we came in the summer. A. Would we go to the beach? For we would visit you tomorrow. D. If the trains were running. 5. I'd get there early. B. If I were you. 6. She would earn more money. E. If she worked longer hours. B. Put the verbs in brackets into the correct form. 1. I would go to the doctor if I were you. He can give you some medicine. Go B. 2. If they sold ice cream here, would you buy some? Sell buy. 3. I would help you if I could. But I'm too busy right now. For if I had my phone with me, I would call him. 5. If we had more food, I would ask them to stay for dinner. 6. If you lied nearer to us, we would see you more often. 7. Would your brother be happier if he didn't work so hard? 8. If you didn't always make such a mess, the kitchen would be cleaner. 7. Underline the correct alternative. 1. If I was a famous footballer, I would live in a big house. 2. If she worked harder, I'm sure she'd be more successful. 3. If I did more sport, I would feel fitter. 4. If I had the day off, I would stay in bed. 5. If I wouldn't work or study, I would be bored. 6. I would read more if I didn't have a TV. 7. I would use my bicycle more if I didn't have a car. 8. Use the prompts to make questions with hypothetical conditionals. 1. If. Have. No money. What? Do. If you had no money, what would you do? 2. If. Can. Have dinner. With any two living people. Who? Choose. If you could have dinner with any two living people, who would you choose? 3. If. Can. Do any job. What? Do. If you could do any job, what would you do? 4. If. Have more time. What? Do. If you had more time, what would you do? 5. If. Can. Change one thing about yourself. What? Change. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would you change? B. Work in pairs. Ask and answer the questions. Writing. Paragraphs. 9. Put sentences A, D, in the correct paragraphs to complete the profile of Jack Monroe. A. Jack grew up in Essex and left school aged 16. B. Jack is now a successful journalist who campaigns against poverty. C. Jack Monroe was a 24-year-old mother of one who started writing an online blog, A Girl Called Jack, when she was unemployed and looking for work. D. She sold almost everything she owned, car, watch, TV, phone, in order to buy enough food for her and her 2-year-old son to eat, but she found they were still hungry. A Girl Called Jack. 1. Jack Monroe was a 24-year-old mother of one who she became an overnight celebrity when she wrote a blog post called Hunger Hurts, talking about how difficult life is when you're living on very little money. 2. Jack grew up in Essex and left school aged 16. She had a well-paid job with the fire service until she had a baby, and it became difficult to find childcare to allow her to work nights. After 18 months of being unemployed, she found herself living in poverty. 3. She sold almost everything she owned, car, watch, TV, phone, in order to buy enough food for her and her 2-year-old son to eat, but she found they were still hungry. She started the blog to talk about her experiences and give people recipes for eating healthily using very little money. The blog was a huge success, and soon Jack Monroe was asked to write articles in newspapers, appear on television, and talk to the government about poverty. 4. Jack is now a successful journalist who campaigns against poverty. She has won awards for her blog and has published a book of her recipes. B. Choose the correct heading for each paragraph. Introduction. Childhood and education. Rise to fame. Achievements. Speakout tip. Each paragraph should have a different topic. The first sentence of each paragraph, the topic sentence, should introduce that paragraph. Plan the topic of the paragraph before you start writing. C. Research the life of a famous person you admire or read the profile on page 167. Write the profile of this person using paragraphs.